from KSAT 12. The 6 o'clock news starts right now.
And we begin with some late-breaking news from the northwest side. A big traffic mess at Wurzbach and the Colonnade. This is right off I-10.
This is a look from Sky 12. Here you can see a heavy presence of DPS state troopers along with some officers from the San Antonio Police Department. Stephen Cavazos on the ground there trying to get details on exactly what has happened. Stephen, we understand you just talked to some witnesses. So what do we know about what led up to this?
Steve, Myra, first we want to point out that the scene is still very active. You can see that they're clearing up a lot of the crash that took place earlier here at Wurzbach and the Colonnade. Now, DPS says that all of this stems from a pursuit. Just take a look at the scene from Sky 12 a little bit earlier. This is what the crashing looks like from up above. We're still working to gather more information, but witnesses tell us they saw a black Nissan speeding down Wurzbach and crashing into a car that was coming out of HEB. That car spitting out and crashing into two other vehicles. Now, we are told that the driver of the black Nissan was taken into custody, and right now, again, we are still working to gather more information, but witnesses here tell us that say that there was not many serious injuries that they saw out here, but again, this is a developing story. We are waiting to get more information from DPS at this time. For now, reporting live, Stephen Cavazos, KSAT 12 News. Steve, Myra.
Thank you, Stephen. It looks like a stretch of Wurzbach itself still closed down as they clean up out there. Also breaking this afternoon, Northside ISD police investigating after a gun found inside a vehicle on campus. According to district officials, they received a tip on social media. Then officers found a handgun. We're told they've identified the student associated with that vehicle, but they have not made any arrests. That student is a 17-year-old male. No threat made to anyone or the school itself. But officials say they found some kind of pill also inside that vehicle, and they're looking into what exactly that pill is.
Let's take a look outside this evening. It looks like we were heading for another nice weekend weather-wise, but before we get there, some of us might have to deal with some rain. And though it might be wet, it will be warmer. Adam Caskey has the details in your Weather Authority forecast in just a few minutes.
Some last-minute legal maneuvering brought the aggravated sexual assault trial of Alan Arredondo Bratton to an abrupt end and revealed some additional charges against him.
He was found guilty on the assault charges yesterday. Today, as part of a plea agreement, he was sentenced to 35 years in prison.
Paul Venema takes us through the process that led up to that plea deal.
Is that your understanding of the agreement you have on sentencing?
Yes, you are.
As the punishment phase was beginning, Alan Arredondo Bratton's lawyer announced that there was a plea agreement and that he'd changed his mind. He asked that the judge, rather than the jury, assess his punishment.
I assess your punishment at 35 years in the Texas Department of Criminal Justice. There's a $1,500 fine. I'm going to make an affirmative finding that there is a deadly weapon used in the commission of the offense.
You ain't going nowhere.
That deadly weapon was a pistol that Brayton waved in her face as he sexually assaulted his 25-year-old girlfriend on December 4th, 2017, an assault that he recorded on his cell phone. It was the centerpiece of the state's case, and it also provided evidence of more than just the attack. His cell phone contained 32 images of child pornography. Those charges were dismissed as part of the plea deal, but included in Brayton's sentence.
The record is closed. You're excused.
As he left the courtroom, Brayton gestured to his family and smiled.
Before prosecutors accepted that plea deal, they discussed it with the victim. She agreed, and they went forward. Paul Venema, KSAT 12 News.
The San Antonio police searching for the suspects responsible for a shooting at South Park Mall last night. It left 4 people in the hospital. Investigators say this was no random shooting. The victims were the targets. But that information, not much comfort to holiday shoppers now worried about their safety in the wake of this gunfire. As Katrina Weber reports, the gunfire had shoppers running for cover.
The red and green of the season's decorations took a backseat to red and blue lights and yellow tape at South Park Mall. San Antonio police crowded into the parking lot shortly before 9 last night after hearing about gunshots here. They found 4 people had been shot, 2 of them with serious wounds. The shooters got away.
And we just saw everybody screaming, running, kind of just saying like, there's a shooter, he has a gun.
Abigail Garcia and her group were at the mall running an errand when they say they noticed chaos break out.
So at that moment, I just like looked at my friend and my sister and we were just like, okay, what do we do?
They say there was confusion all around them. People caught off guard in the middle of their late night holiday shopping. According to that shopper's account, what happened here was terrifying and sent people running for their lives. Based on what people are saying on social media now, they're wondering if it's safe to come back. One man who posted on our Twitter page says he had planned to shop there for his wife's gift, but expletive that. A woman called it the scariest moment of her life, running out with her children who were in the middle of taking pictures with Santa. Yet another person posted about plans to go to the mall just moments before the shooting.
We never had that before here, so this is the one-time deal, I guess, hopefully.
Jimmy Guevara, however, says he's not fazed by what happened. He believes the violence was an isolated case, not enough to kill his Christmas shopping spirit. Katrina Weber, KSAT 12 News.
We reached out to South Park Mall about that shooting. Brian Peters, the vice president and general manager, told us the safety of shoppers and mall employees a top priority. He says his security team is trained to handle all types of emergency situations. The mall also works closely with SAPD and is cooperating in the investigation.
We now know the name of a woman who was hit and killed crossing the street near the quarry last night. 78-year-old Juanita Venegas was crossing in the 100 block of Bassey when she was hit by a car that was changing lanes. According to police, the driver of that car tried to avoid hitting her but wasn't able to. They did stop to try to help Venegas. No criminal charges are expected.
The San Antonio police looking for a guy they say ran over his girlfriend late last night on the north side. It happened about 11:30 on McCullough Avenue in Oblate. Officers say the two arguing when she got out of the car. Then she went around to the driver's side and tried to get in. That's when the boyfriend drove away, running over the woman's leg.
Let's take a look at time saver traffic now. 1604 in Houseman. You can see traffic really heavy in both directions, but the direction heading away from this camera where you see all those tail lights, you can see some flashing lights up there in the distance. There's an accident there. Definitely has things stalled here on the northwest side. New at 6, San Antonio is full of Santa's helpers this time of year. Today, more than 7,500 local kids received Christmas gifts through the Salvation Army Angel Tree program. Rows and rows of boxes full of toys and clothes lined up at the San Antonio Event Center, and families waiting to receive those donations were lined up outside. Hundreds of volunteers will hand out the gifts today and tomorrow, giving them to families who need help putting something under the tree this year. It's made possible by people who take part in the Angel Tree program, buying a child a few things off their wish list to make their Christmas merry.
See some happy tears. So just knowing that you can be a part of something that, you know, makes someone's Christmas, makes someone's year, it feels very gratifying.
The Salvation Army Angel Tree program has partnered with local malls since 1979, hanging a child's wish list on a Christmas tree for someone to adopt.
Roy Moss Youth Alternatives looking for a little help tomorrow with some gift wrapping. The nonprofit asking for wrapping supplies and help wrapping gifts for kids living in the Roy Moss Residential and Emergency Shelter. If you can help them out, they're going to be at the Roy Moss Youth Alternatives Burdick Community Center in Bernie from 10 a.m. until 3 p.m. tomorrow. But they intend to keep working until all the gifts are wrapped.
Let's take another look outside with live cam. It's a pretty picture out there. 55 degrees, still a chill in the air, but things are warming up, Adam.
Yeah, it's not going to be as cold tonight as what we had the past couple of nights. I mean, earlier this morning we were down in the teens in the hill country, so we definitely have felt the chill recently. Right now we're at 55 degrees, dew point at 27, a calm wind, but the clouds are moving overhead and they're increasing. You can see them at the live cam there off in the distance. And they'll thicken through the night, which will basically act as a blanket and keep us warmer than last night. So 49 right now in Comfort, 53 Port SA, Floresville 61. Through the evening, we'll just gradually see our temperatures falling down through the 40s, and I think we'll start the day tomorrow in the lower 40s. With some rain on the way, we could use it. The aquifer unchanged today, but we're only 3.5 feet above average. Quick look at your pollen count. Molden Mountain Cedar, both low. We'll talk more about that rain and your holiday forecast coming up.
Thank you, Adam. Well, after a less than satisfying trip down I-10, the Spurs back home to take on the Brooklyn Nets tonight. Greg Simmons live from the AT&T Center with a preview of the game.
Plus, the newest treatments to fight depression. We'll talk about it next at 6.
When you hear this stuff on the news, you hear it on social media, whatever, and you go outside and it's in your backyard, it's a whole nother aspect of the game.
The search continues in Austin for a missing woman and her infant daughter. Heidi Broussard and her daughter Margot have been missing since last week. Local law enforcement haven't been able to turn up much in the way of leads. They have asked the public for help locating the two. Now the FBI is involved, seen searching around Broussard's apartment.
They did their flashlight thing. They looked around, just checking in closets, stuff like that. Right. Trying to make sure that there was nothing hidden, anything strange out of the ordinary.
Police say Heidi and Margot came home after dropping her son off at school last Thursday morning, but no one has seen them since. With no answers and dropping temperatures, community members taking it upon themselves to search for Heidi and Margot. But right now, Austin police tell us a community search is likely not helpful at this stage.
This SA Salute holiday greeting is brought to you by CPS Energy.
Hello, San Antonio. Christina Carter here with CPS Energy, sending a very special salute to our son, Kiwan Edmond, that is serving in Japan this holiday season. From the family here in San Antonio, Texas, and our CPS Energy family, we wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. And we appreciate all your hard work and service to our country.
It is that time of year when some people find themselves with the holiday blues. If you count all year long, more than 300 million people across the world suffer from depression. Ursula Perry shows us some novel therapies that are changing the game when it comes to managing this often debilitating illness.
It's a disease that affects men and women, the young and the old, the rich and the poor. Depression doesn't discriminate, but there are ways to help control it.
Because if you really start to
Talk therapy along with antidepressant medications have been the go-to treatment for years now.
Medications are not 100%. They provide some options, but they have some limitations.
In fact, 1/3 of people with depression don't respond to antidepressants. And when the drugs do work, they can take 4 to 8 weeks to kick in. Doctors are now looking at other ways to help people when standard treatments fail. One method, called transcranial magnetic stimulation, or TMS for short, uses electrical stimulation to target areas in the brain that are underactive in people with depression.
What it does is it generates a very powerful magnetic field, which we can then target into certain parts of the brain to stimulate activity.
2 new FDA-approved drugs have also shown promise. The first, esketamine, is a nasal spray that acts within a couple of hours. It's derived from ketamine, which is used as an anesthesia during surgeries. Esketamine relieves symptoms in about half of patients with treatment-resistant depression. And brexanolone is a newly approved option for postpartum depression. It's given as an infusion over 2.5 days, and it starts to work within a few days.
Electroconvulsive therapy is another use for treatment-resistant depression that has good results. It's when electrical impulses are put into the brain and causes a seizure inside. Believe it or not, it works. However, it does have side effects, as do these other new drugs. You need to talk to a doctor before deciding on any course of treatment. Ursula Perry, KSAT 12 News.
Take a look from Sky 12 here, high above the quarry this evening. You can see it's one of the many shopping centers around town, bound to be packed, of course, this time of year. Got a little glimpse of traffic there before they zoomed in, and it's always heavy around the quarry at this time of day, but especially with holiday shopping in full swing.
Yeah, smokestacks look good with the red and green. Talking about red and green, let's show you a traffic problem right now. This is I-10 at Probant. All right, more red here than green, but you can see a lot of traffic stopped. There's an accident in the westbound lanes of I-10 and Probant. It looks like at least one lane is blocked right now. Traffic is getting by, but it is very slow going at this hour.
Meantime, weather-wise, it was another pretty day out there. Still a little chill in the air, though.
Yes, and earlier this morning, I mean, we're down in the teens in the hill country. We're 27 here in San Antonio, but temperatures are on the upswing. We are not expecting a freeze tonight. Actually, we should be well above freezing. But earlier this morning, coldest day so far this year, and I believe it was the coldest day since November of 2018, at least the coldest start to a day. So let's take a look at our almanac data, along with those increasing clouds coming in from the southwest. 27 this morning. Now, that's way below average, but nowhere near a record. The record's 18, set back in 1996. Then we made it up to 60 degrees briefly this afternoon, and that's just 3 degrees below average. Right now, we're at 55. We have a calm wind and still very dry air in place. Dew point of 27, so you may notice dry skin, maybe chapped lips. Well, it's still that cold front from a few days ago that pushed in that drier air, and that's why you're feeling that way. 53 in Divine, 50 in Bandera, 49 in Comfort. Temperatures not falling off as drastically or even as rapidly as the past couple of nights. We'll just see the temperature gradually fall off, and that's mainly a result of the clouds that are moving in. We were 46 in Rock Springs, 47 in Kerrville. Those are some of the cooler exceptions right now. So clouds have been streaming in from the southwest all day today. They're coming off the Pacific. It's moisture from the Pacific Ocean, and you can see that just basically band of clouds moving overhead. They'll continue to thicken overhead tonight, and that'll act as an insulator. So we're not going to be down near freezing tomorrow morning. I think we'll be closer to 40 degrees actually to start the day. But this is all part of a bigger system. We have this dip in the upper level flow. You see right near Albuquerque, New Mexico. It's a little swirl in the upper levels, a little bit of energy with it. It's a disturbance. That's going to drop in tomorrow, and that's going to give us a damp day. And of course, we could use some rain, not just around here, but 37% of the state is considered in drought, and a lot of that is in South Texas, especially this red area, Uvalde to Brackettville. That's where we really need rainfall the most. And we'll get some. I just don't think it's going to be all that much. Get ready for just a cloudy, cool, and damp day tomorrow. Futurecast showing some areas of rain by the morning commute. Not everywhere, but we'll see them scattered across South Texas and at times moving through San Antonio. Off and on rain, a little bit of fog and drizzle in between, and it's going to be cold. But for the accumulations, you go west to Del Rio, you may not even see anything. You get to the I-35 corridor, up to about 1/4 of an inch. If we're lucky, we could see 1/3 of an inch here and there around Bexar County. Even the 1/2 inch potential is closer to Beeville, southeast of town. And that's it, really, for our chance of rain. Look at it, it's a good chance. It's just not going to amount to all that much, so we're not looking at a drought denter. But it's better than nothing. And then, well, we will have nothing in terms of rainfall basically all the way through next week. So here are the details tomorrow. 43 in the morning. And notice how the temperature doesn't rise very much. Only 52 in the afternoon. And I think some parts of our area will be even cooler than that, stuck in the 40s all day long with the off and on light rain. So if you want to just bypass the umbrella and put the rain jacket on, the raincoat on, you may be better off tomorrow. Just a light easterly breeze. I had to put that Santa transition in there. Come on, it's right around the corner. I had to do it. All right, into the weekend, back into the 60s with some sunshine. And notice morning temperatures remaining above freezing here over the next 7 days. And as we get into next week and Christmas, well, nothing to worry about. Sunny and right around 70 degrees.
That's not too bad. Christmas, nothing to worry about.
Yeah.
I like the Santa transition.
Thank you. Nothing to worry about if you've gotten all your gifts and all that's out of the way.
Do you? Do
you? You know the answer.
I do know the answer.
Yeah.
You don't have to ask us.
Yeah.
Thanks, Adam.
Yep.
All right, so the Spurs back home taking on a very improved Brooklyn team. Greg Simmons live at the AT&T Center.
Not the same as the old New Jersey Nets, not the same as the really old New Jersey Nets back in 2003. When we come back, how did the Spurs get over their slow start over the month of November and now December? They will tell us, and the 6A All-State team announced today for high school football coming up. Good evening, everybody, and welcome live to courtside here at the AT&T Center, where tonight our San Antonio Spurs play host to the Brooklyn Nets before Kawhi and the Clippers come calling on Saturday night. Now, the Spurs are off to their slowest start in the Greg Popovich era, just 10-16 to open the 2019-2020 season, but they're still only one game behind 12-15 Sacramento for the final playoff spot in the Western Conference. DeJounte Murray posted on Instagram, promising the Spurs will get through this thing, going in the right direction sooner than later. The Spurs coming off a loss in Houston where they blew a 25-point first-half lead, but as the Spurs' longest tenured player will tell you, there's some good that comes out of old bad.
It's how you come back for the next game is what overall matters. Big picture, look at the positives and what we can learn from it. But, even on a win, you don't get too high as well. So, look, big picture stuff. One game's one game, and we take from it like we have, for the whole season and put it into play.
All right, here's the matchup tonight, and don't forget both Tim Duncan and Becky Hammond right now nominated for the 2020 class of the Naismith Hall of Fame. Fighting Texas Aggies are enjoying the 6th-ranked recruiting class in 2020. That includes defensive back Jalen Jones, who signed on the dotted line in ceremonies at Steele High School on Wednesday. Now as the Aggies reload, they prepare for the Texas Bowl at NRG Stadium in Houston on December the 27th. That's where they'll face Oklahoma State for the first time since the Aggies left the Big 12 for the SEC in 2012.
When you look at the way we finished last year, the big one in the bowl game, it really puts a good taste in your mouth going into the offseason. And, for me, finishing my career, you always want to win, but this is a big one.
Not always playing SEC ball and, getting outside to a different conference, I feel like is always something that's really good. So, it's close to home and indoor, and so we're excited.
Oklahoma Sooners will have at least 3 players suspended when they face #1 ranked LSU in the Chick-fil-A Peach Bowl in the college football semifinals later this month. Head coach Lincoln Riley would not confirm the names of the players, but according to reports, it is pass rusher Ronnie Perkins, running back Ramondre Stevenson, and wide receiver Trajan Bridges. There's no official word as why the 3 players have been suspended for the biggest game of the year, but indications are it is an NCAA matter. Congratulations to the Wimberley Texans, who are headed to the first state title game since 2011. That's where they will take on Texarkana Pleasant Grove in the Class 4A Division II state championship game in AT&T Stadium on Friday afternoon. The Texans are peaking at the right time after losing 3 games in the regular season to Austin Regents, Navarro, and Cuero. The Texans have rallied to win 5 straight playoff games, including a rematch against Navarro in the Alamo Dome that they won 42-12 in the state quarterfinals.
It's a dream for all these kids, and to be able to accomplish that, to get to the final game, championship game, just a lot of excitement, and looking forward to it on Friday afternoon.
All right, kickoff Friday in the AT&T Stadium in Arlington is set for 3 p.m. The Texas High School All-State 6A team by the Associated Press named today. Second team offense includes offensive lineman Logan Parr out of O'Connor, Darren McKnight out of Steele, a wide receiver, DeAnthony Lewis, a running back, and second-team defense, Jackson Macias out of Clemens, along with Devon Martin out of Stevens and Jalen Jones out of Steele. We'll have more on the Spurs coming up in just a few minutes. Live from the AT&T Center, Greg Simmons, KSAT 12 Sports.
All right, we'll see you then. Thank you, Greg. Still to come at 6, 1 person dead after a rolling shootout in Dallas. What witnesses say they saw when an innocent bystander was caught in the gunfire.
And after voting to impeach President Donald Trump, the articles of impeachment go on to the Senate. Or do they? Why House Speaker Nancy Pelosi says she is in no hurry to transfer them. Next at 6.
The House vote last night, just the beginning. Now it's the Senate's turn to take up the impeachment case against President Donald Trump. But with House Speaker Nancy Pelosi refusing to commit to when she will hand the articles of impeachment over to the Senate, things could hit a stalemate. Camilla Bernal in Washington with what's next.
Well, I don't feel like I'm being impeached because it's a hoax.
A Washington stare down between both chambers of Congress with the presidency of Donald Trump on the line.
Article 1 is adopted.
House Speaker Nancy Pelosi has 2 articles of impeachment that passed the House last night. One for abuse of power, the other for obstruction of Congress.
They happen to have a small majority, and they took that small majority.
The next step, transferring those articles to the Senate, where President Trump will be tried. But Pelosi says she wants assurances that the trial will be a fair one. Senate Majority Leader Mitch McConnell has indicated that he has already made up his mind.
This particular House of Representatives has let its partisan rage at this particular president create a toxic new precedent.
And other top members of the GOP backing McConnell.
If there's a witness request by anybody, I'm going to say no.
An announcement from Pelosi on the impeachment managers who will be prosecuting the case in the Senate is expected. But until that happens, all Washington and the White House can do is wait. In Washington, I'm Camila Bernal.
News around Texas now. An innocent bystander is dead, shot and killed in a rolling gun battle in Dallas. Another person wounded. According to police, the suspects in 2 different cars were shooting at each other as they were driving. The man who died was in a car that was hit by stray bullets. A woman also in the car was shot in the hand. Video from the scene showing shattered glass from a convenience store and a car with broken glass. So far, no arrests have been reported.
There's some good news for people hitting the road for the holidays. Gas prices going down. This week's survey from AAA shows the national average price for a gallon of gas, $2.55 a gallon. That's down a couple of pennies. In Texas, a 1-cent drop to $2.23 a gallon. Odessa, with the most expensive gas in the state, $2.45 on average. AAA has Tyler with the cheapest gas at $2.14. San Antonio lands on the chart this week at $2.19 a gallon.
New at 6, a warning for all of us from researchers. If our lifestyle habits don't change soon, they say the country will hit an unprecedented level of obesity in the next decade. Tiffany Huertas explains.
It's an alarming prediction. Within 10 years, more than half of all Americans will be obese. And 1 in 4 will be considered severely obese, meaning they will be more than 100 pounds overweight. The projections published in the New England Journal of Medicine were based on data from more than 6 million U.S. adults. The study found that the South and Midwest will be the hardest hit, but no state will be spared. The lead author says severe obesity will become the most common BMI category. The consequences could have a devastating impact on the U.S. healthcare system. Interventions on the local and national level can help reverse the trend. Taxing sugar-sweetened beverages is one way to address the problem. Experts say such drinks are one of the main contributors to the country's weight problem. Promoting farm-to-school and farm-to-work programs that boost access to locally grown fruits and veggies could also help, along with calorie labeling on menus. Due to how difficult obesity is to treat, the study stresses that prevention is the only way to slow the epidemic. Tiffany Huertas, KSAT 12 News.
All right, not many of us would think of owls when it comes to Christmas, but for one family, they won't be able to separate them after finding a live owl in their Christmas tree inside their house. How long it was before they noticed it, still to come.
And this new toy from Fisher-Price, not exactly getting rave reviews online. The problem a lot of people are having with this charcuterie board. Next. Peloton lady, she is old news at this point. The buzz on the internet this week is over a new playset by Fisher-Price. It's called Snacks for Two Charcuterie Board. The toy maker's website says it's for preschoolers age 3 and up. It's stirring up a lot of thoughts and feelings online.
Yeah, the 15-piece set includes fake marble plates, a wood accented cutting board, and real fabric napkins, and faux snacks of salami, cheese, pull-apart grapes, and crackers. In case you're wondering, people online have attacked the toy set for being snooty, too hipsterish, and too highbrow. Others defend the toy, calling it cute and something they would have liked as kids or even now. And I don't really have strong feelings either way.
No.
I wasn't sure until this segment that I knew how to say charcuterie.
Yeah, I had to work on that.
Yeah.
If you still have packages you need to get in the mail for the holidays, you're running behind. Christmas less than a week away, but it's not too late for some places. For FedEx, a list of various deadlines start today. For Target and Best Buy, your deadline is on Friday. Same goes for the post office.
Yeah, depending on what you're sending, there are various deadlines starting Friday for Amazon. If you're a Prime member, you've got until Sunday. If you're not, you're out of luck. It's Sunday for Walmart too, by the way. And for UPS, it is Monday. You can get all the details on each company's website. And of course, the closer you get to Christmas, the more it's going to cost you.
Yeah, pretty penny.
Yeah.
We've all gotten gifts that maybe have not been the best fit for us and have been sitting in the closet since last year or the year before that. Well, it's time to get it out and send it to its new home. Today is National Regifting Day. It has always been celebrated on the Thursday before Christmas.
Yeah, there are some general rules for regifting. Make sure the present is unused and in its original packaging. Don't regift if the item is handmade or personalized, or if the gift has a special meaning for the original giver. Only regift if you think the receiver would enjoy the present. One person's trash might or might not be another person's treasure.
I feel like office white elephant gifts exchange, that's a good re-gift.
Have you ever had an obvious re-gift?
Not that I can think.
Oh yeah, Oh yeah, some chocolates once. Yeah, they were like really old too. It was classic.
I one time had somebody give me a pen, and it said like the town, like Houston or something on there, and on the other side, it had that person's son's name.
Oh, whoops.
Yes.
Wah, wah.
I love it. I know you wouldn't think of regifting a homemade thermometer,
Never.
right?
Never.
Right? All right, well, I'll be drawing a winner live, actually, coming up in a few minutes. First of all, this evening, 55 right now. We'll be falling through the 40s. Chat more about our damp and cold day for tomorrow coming up.
There's a good reason that this owl looks so realistic in a Georgia family's Christmas tree. That's because it's a real owl. Kate Newman loves owls, and she's got several owl ornaments on her tree. One day, her 10-year-old daughter came in to her in tears, saying that one of the ornaments scared her. That's when they found this guy. The family tried leaving their doors and their windows open all night, but the owl stayed right there, stayed put. The family called a wildlife expert to try to get the animal out, and he says that he thinks the owl was in the house as long as the tree had been there, so about a week or so.
Did he just come with the tree?
Apparently he did. Made the trip home with him.
It'd be great if they lived in Whoville. Our San Antonio Spurs will put their best winning percentage at home against any franchise in the NBA on the line tonight.
That's when the Spurs host the Brooklyn Nets in the AT&T Center, where the Spurs own a 16-game home win streak against their Eastern Conference foe.
With more, let's take you live to the AT&T Center. That's where we find our Greg Simmons. Greg.
No, in fact, the last time the Nets actually won here in San Antonio was back in 2003, but then they were known as the New Jersey Nets, the same Nets that the Spurs took on in the NBA Finals that year. The Spurs beat the Nets in 6 games to win their second NBA championship. It was also the final season on the court for both David Robinson and Steve Kerr, who both retired after the title series. But now, 16 years later, this is a much different team than the one that dominated that decade. The Spurs have opened their 2019-2020 season by losing 16 of their first 26 games and are just 7-7 at home. So what is the mood of the team, including Rudy Gay, who's averaging just over 11 points a game and has played in every game this season?
It's been tough. It's been a lot of ups and downs already in the season, but at the end of the day, you have to go back to just being a basketball player and figuring out the best way to play basketball and do what I used to do and do how I know how to do it. So, although sometimes it's tough and some losses are tough, just try to keep high spirits and continue to be a basketball player.
We'll see right now if the Spurs can keep their 16-game win streak alive against the Brooklyn Nets tonight. And don't forget to join us on the night beat for all the highlights, and we'll take you inside, we hope, is the Spurs' winning locker room after the game. Live from the AT&T Center, Greg Simmons, KSAT 12 Sports.
All right, thanks, Greg.
All right, you got a big present over there, or what?
Well, it's really just a thermometer that's in it, but there's a lot of names in here.
Okay.
One of which will be drawn later on.
Yeah. After we give the forecast, of course, because a lot of people wondering what Christmas.
Yeah, and right now Christmas is looking just fairly stable, normal, nothing
looking
really.
Good.
Yeah, it depends. Some people like a cold Christmas. It's all subjective.
How about this? It doesn't look bad.
Okay, you're right. It doesn't look bad. Let's look at it that way.
Glad you guys could see eye to
Glass
eye
half
there.
full kind of person.
It's always half. It's all the way full. Come on now. All right, so let's start with a look at the numbers outside right now, because it's not going to be as cold of a night as what we had the past couple of nights. Even across the state, we've got fairly similar numbers until you get far south Texas, Laredo, Brownsville in the 60s. Otherwise, a lot of 40s and 50s out there. The cold front we had a few days ago was definitely an equalizer temperature-wise. 53 in Gonzales, down into the 40s in parts of the hill country now. 46 Kerrville, 46 Rock Springs. Earlier this morning, they were in the teens. Yeah, the chill was on. But not as cold, and I think we'll be above freezing tomorrow morning. Still some upper 30s in the hill country. This is a forecast around sunrise tomorrow. 44 in Pleasanton, Uvalde about 42. You get in locally and look at this, we're above freezing. As cool as 39 in Bernie, but otherwise low to mid 40s for the most part to start the day tomorrow. One reason we're going to be warmer is the blanket of clouds that's moving in from the southwest. Whenever you have the clouds at night, they insulate us and they keep the heat from escaping out in the nighttime hours. And so tonight, not quite as cold, but get ready for a cool and damp day tomorrow. We may not be below freezing in the morning, but we're not going to warm up a whole lot during the day. And this is all because, first of all, these clouds are streaming in as part of a big disturbance that's off to the northwest of us. So this dip in the upper level flow, that's the upper disturbance. Out ahead of it, we've had the increasing clouds today. Once this drops in tomorrow, that's when we stir up some showers. Of course, we could use the rain. Here's the latest drought monitor updated every Thursday, so we like to bring that to you. And 37% of the state is in drought. That does not include the abnormally dry areas, which actually Hallettsville area, Lavaca County, just considered abnormally dry. But where we really need the rain the most is where you see the darker oranges and the red, west of San Antonio, Uvalde, over towards Brackettville. And I think they'll actually see the least amount of rain with this system. And our Futurecast indicates that as well. It shows the showers developing late tonight, early tomorrow morning. Looks like the bulk of the rain will be east of I-35. But even locally, we will have some off and on areas of light rain through the day tomorrow. So a damp day, just off and on dampness, and definitely on the cool side. Now, in terms of overall accumulations, unfortunately, I don't think we'll squeeze out all that much. It's not looking like the good drought denting system that we could use around here. West of I-35, lesser amounts of rain locally in and around Bexar County, maybe up to a quarter or a third of an inch. You get closer to the Gulf Coast line and up to a half inch. Cool though, damp and cool. 43 in the morning, only about 52 for the high temperature with the light easterly wind at 3 to 8. Then we get into the weekend. It's back to sunshine and high temperatures into the 60s. That has been the pattern for several weeks, where the weekends are just beautiful and good weather. Get those last minute shopping plans and whatever preparations you need for the upcoming holidays. As we get into Christmas Eve and Christmas Day, we're looking sunny and right near 70 degrees. So great weather, Myra. Great weather.
All right, I agree.
And happy Therm-Thirds.
Ah, yes.
'Tis the season of giving, and you know I love to give away the homemade, 100% homemade thermometer ornaments, right? These are little 4-inch thermometers that I blow the glass and make the thermometer for, right? We've talked about this a lot. And Santa Jim helped me out big time this year by doing a lot of the woodworking as well. So we have entries.
A lot of entries.
Yeah, well, these are the folks that went to Pasha to enter, and I do have a few spares, so I already announced a couple winners today. Oh, you know what, Myra, you need to do the honors again.
Okay.
I'm going to mix it up.
This once before.
Yeah, you've done this.
I'm gonna act like a seasoned pro.
She's properly stretching.
Yes, I don't. You don't want to
Don't
do this.
don't pull a
incorrectly
forearm
or
there.
pull
Right?
something. Safety first, guys.
All right, folded. Cody Summers.
Nice.
Congratulations, Cody Summers. I'll be dropping you a line soon. Let you know how to come pick up homemade thermometer.
Very cool.
Yep.
Congratulations, Cody. In case you missed it, coming up next.
Here's today's in case you missed it.
It is Thursday. It is December 19th.
A shooting in the middle of holiday shopping at South Park Mall is having a chilling effect on some shoppers.
It certainly is. They say they've worried about the safety there in the wake of violence late last night.
One man who posted on our Twitter page says he had planned to shop there for his wife's gift, but expletive that.
He's accused of performing unlawful strip searches on women during traffic stops.
And today we've learned the Bexar County Sheriff's Office kept Deputy Floyd Berry on the job despite a similar incident inside the jail. Records show Berry was suspended 10 days in 2010 after he ordered a female jailer to record a strip search of a male inmate, leaving the jailer feeling uncomfortable and embarrassed.
6 hours of debate on the House floor, ending with a historic impeachment vote. Now it is up to the Senate to decide whether to remove President Trump from office.
But it's still unclear when they will get those articles of impeachment, as the House Speaker suggests she may wait until some of the trial details are worked out.
Clearly, do you understand? When we see what their process is, we will know who and how many we want to send over.
Mr. President, looks like the prosecutors are getting cold feet.
In the wake of only the third ever presidential impeachment, 7 Democrats who want the job are going to take the stage in Los Angeles.
It is the final debate of 2019. So who has the most to gain and the most to lose tonight?
And the most to gain is anybody not named Joe Biden.
There will be 50% fewer candidates on the stage this time, and my speaking time would be projected to rise by 50%. So it should be a really exciting night.
Got a traffic alert to make you aware of here at 410 in San Pedro. That's the camera view here. You can see there in the lanes furthest from this camera that there are some flashing lights. Looks like maybe an ambulance there on the scene, some traffic there stalled on the side of the road. It's not slowing things down too badly, it looks like, as traffic makes its way around this accident and this scene with first responders.
Yeah, it's a westbound Loop 410. It looks like it may actually be on the access road. Kind of tough to tell from this angle. Again, it's Loop 410 at San Pedro, the westbound lanes of 410. Let's go back to go back to the Wurzbach Colonnade area. This is a chase that started on Highway 90. We are told there are two 34-year-olds, a man and a woman, that were inside this vehicle. They were stopped in Castroville for traffic violations, and instead of staying stopped, they took off. They led police on a chase all the way into San Antonio along I-10, and that is where this crash ended the chase at Wurzbach and the Colonnade, not far off I-10. So an update on that story. And of course, we hope to have some witnesses and some other sound tonight on the Night Beat at 10.
Get ready for a damp and cool day tomorrow. We'll have some areas of rain, but it's going to be very light in nature and just intermittent throughout the day. 43 in the morning, only making it to near 50 into the afternoon. So definitely a rain jacket day if you want. That's maybe better option than the umbrella just to keep you warm. Into the weekend, though, we continue the pattern of sunny, comfortable weekends into the 60s. And next week, Christmas Eve, Christmas Day, looking good. Sunny and near 70.
All right.
Looking great.
Thanks, Adam. I like that positivity. Thanks for watching the news at 6.
See you on the Night Beat at 10 and online at 9.